All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Monday to you and yours. Here we are, minus the cultural clash, minus the Duke's. Dan's trying not to laugh. We're a little late. No, we're a lot late. Please forgive us, but we're here.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties beyond the wazoo, but we are ready to come into you and talk all about your real estate needs, wants, desires, and questions, because that explains it all into where we are right now with the closing table, brought to you by NextHome Brandywine, Dan Pizzi. Hey, the man next to me, Hub Rogel over this side.
Hub lost his earpiece. What do you got, Hub?
Well, I was thinking about this guy, either Mason or Matt, and they posted a thing on your Facebook page. He said somebody was holding a cardboard sign that said, "Listen to your real estate agent, not your friend's uncle, not your friend's uncle who bought a house 7 years ago." And so was that Mason or Matt that posted that?
I think Bay posted it originally.
Correct.
And it was reposted by one of them. It's a lot of people bring their parents and they always assert themselves, which is fine, but generally speaking in a way that is not factual, and they're speaking to home buying process. Honestly, if you're speaking to anything outside of the last 3 months, doesn't pertain to what's going on here.
Yeah, but it's not just the time, because people are like, let's say, a backseat driver or a Monday morning quarterback. They want to feel like they know things, and they also don't trust other people. They feel like they're going to get ripped off, and that they don't realize that that's your job to make sure they don't get ripped off. But
it's true. It's
really hard for them to. It's just to let go and let the expert do his job without messing with him.
There's a trust level, and most people make sure they have that trust factor with their realtors. Let's bring that into this conversation, Hub, because it's a good starting point. We pulled up to, and we're going to cut this a little short tonight. I have a deal I got to get out tonight. We pulled up to a house last night. Anything that's going in a traditional family style home out here in certain neighborhoods, certain school districts it's really hot. So we pull up to one last night. I get there first. I'm usually early. And I notice on the siding, it is asbestos shingle, which we used to call clapboard siding. Mm-hmm. It's very energy efficient. It's not the worst looking stuff, but we've had Dave Tomlin on from Goosehead Insurance on this podcast. And when you see clapboard siding, it could be an insurance issue. Some insurance companies won't cover it because it's an environmental hazard if it breaks or flakes, and it's an EPA situation, and it costs a lot of money to rectify. So when I pull up to the house last night, I noticed it's clapboard shingle siding, right? And I'm thinking, well, this could add extra cost to an already inflated sale price in the fact that they have to get homeowners. Not all homeowners insurance companies cover it, and the ones that do have a premium. And if there's any cracks in this thing, then they won't cover it at all. So before my people got there, I inspected the siding to see what kind of condition it's in. And I was sure to tell them before we entered the home that this might be something, if they wanted to put an offer in on that house, that they needed to look into prior to submitting the offer. Now, I'm not trying to be a wise ass, but I'll guarantee you many of agent would not have said shit and said, "Susie, you want to offer on that house?" Right, Bay?
I was just saying, this is why I love Dan so much, because he is balls to the walls, God's honest truth from the fucking heart.
Yeah.
That's it. Seriously. And this is where, again, I said at the very intro, me and Dan, Italian. When you're Italian and it's, okay, it's real estate, it's a business, but it's not only that, it's heart, passion, and soul for your fellow person. You truly love and respect and want to put them in the best situation. And when they're not going to go into the best situation, you're like, the fuck you doing?
I don't make as much money, Bay, because I tell people straight. I could
Exactly.
And they call that steering in our business. We take that code of ethics as a realtor, and we want to put the people, give them as much information as they need to make that educated decision. They can decide to offer on it, but it's my job to give them that information. And when we talked about Guest Hub, I always think Dave Tomlin is a good guest, because Dave gives you professional, real information. And he does what I do. If he can't fit it for you, it doesn't make sense. He'll tell you, instead of trying to sell you something that's not a fit for you.
Well, I remember when Bay had this car that he bought, and he was real upset because it was like broke down real quick.
The one that caught on fire on the air?
Yeah, I said, yeah, it's going to be fine. And sure enough, it was fine. I said, no, don't worry, man. It's going to be fine. Because I knew that a home mechanic is never going to rip you off. And I'm telling you, they won't, because they depend upon return customers.
Yes.
And you know what? They don't. I'm telling you, 99% of the time they won't, because they depend on return customers. And part of their self-esteem and their persona is that they have to sell themselves. And when they don't, if they did something bad, it would be harder for them to live with themselves. They take them a lot of processing to forgive themselves for doing something sketchy. That's why working makes you such a good person, I think. I know it sounds like I'm being idealistic, but I don't think so.
No. I think you're right, Hub. I think the premise of what you're trying to say is correct.
Okay, so what am I trying to say? Because I think I agree too, but go ahead.
Yeah, my point to that is, we rely on referrals, right? So just like my mechanic, Chris, around the corner. The reason I go to Premier is, when I go for an inspection, he doesn't tell me a light bulb's out. He don't try to nickel and dime me. So when he tells me something's wrong and needs to be done, I listen, because I know he's not trying to sell me, windshield wipers, a light bulb, to up the bill on an inspection that didn't need anything. It's the same concept.
And when you work for yourself too, the first thing that your customer, when you have good customers, the first thing they're going to look at is, do you love your job? Do you love what you do? That's the first thing they're going to look at. And people don't even realize that. They don't realize that the customer, I'm talking about a good customer, is going to say, do you love your job? Because if you love your job, it's too hard to do it. It's too hard to do that job. And if you don't love it, you ain't going to be any good at it. And they want somebody who's truly interested and has a passion for what you're doing.
No, it's true. And to that point, like, I don't buy business for me to do what I do without buying any business from Zillow or Homes.com or anyone else says, I buy no business. It's all referral-based business from people that I've done business before, or people that referred to me from somebody. It's people. No one's doing 6 million, not many, on referral-based business. And I always think about that when I'm going to maybe try to do Zillow or something. I want to have that relationship with people going into where they know that there's a built-in trust factor, either from a previous relationship or for somebody that recommended me. If you see the latest review from my neighbor that I literally wheeled bricks down the street for at the 11th hour to get him out of the house so we could get the settlement. And he said, if you read that review, we don't alter reviews. We don't push reviews. What comes in, we post. He said, if you hire Dan Pizzi and thank me later. And he goes on to tell you why, that everything I did for him that no one else was going to do. And his lady friend's sister was a local realtor, and they didn't hire her because he wanted me to handle the transaction.
I'm sorry, Hub. Let me interrupt and ask this question. And I think this really needs to be asked, because in this day and age, not many people, like we had our little Italian moment a few minutes ago. Not many people can roll like that in life. So I want to ask Dan this question. Dan, as a realtor, what makes you want to go that extra mile to do what you do? Because like you just said, you were wheeling bricks down the street for this guy. You didn't have to do that.
No.
And 99.9% of the other realtors would never do that.
Never touch it. The wheelbarrow is bigger than me. It's a stupidity.
Why?
I treat them all like they're my family, and I know the story of the individuals, right? So I take a minute to understand. I think Hub would be similar. I take a minute. That's a big cup, Hub. I take a minute. Hub, hold that cup up.
That was the size of his hand.
Holy shit. Look at this cup.
I don't like to refill it. I drink a lot of liquid, like water and stuff.
What is in there?
Tea. Yeah, it's a tea bag.
All right.
He's drinking some tea there. There you go. Hub's drinking
Wow.
some tea.
Peppermint tea. It's really good tea, too.
It is good for you. To get back to the question, Bay, I treat them like my family. Like my neighbor, Marty. He ran into obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. I mean, they were putting the screws in this guy trying to get out, from the homeowners association to the township. And I really just felt bad for him on a humanistic level. And I just dug in and said, I'm going to do everything I can to get this guy out of here. And it goes back to Century 21. It goes back to my boy, Dave Stinson, the mentality of, and that's why I joined NextHome, really. When we looked at franchises, I mean, I had my brother-in-law's backing, and we had people that had good financial backing to help me get a franchise. We didn't need to pinch pennies. We basically like NextHome because that humans over houses, which some people think are bullshit, but NextHome truly believes, and they put the person first. And I always end up doing good. And my mom always says you have to say praise God when you do that. But to an extent, right, I always end up doing okay at the end of the year, even though I bust my ass and I do way too much for people. But I don't buy business, and I always end up getting enough. Even like this year, I really wanted to make, I was telling Hub on the phone before we got on, I wanted to make enough to pay for Danny's college and do that extra this year so he didn't have the college debt. And because I'm doing right by people, I'm getting the referrals, the phone's ringing. And listen, some stuff is 1.3 million stuff, some's 195,000 in Falkirk for an ex-girlfriend from 30 years ago to help her father, who's 84 years old, get out of her house. I got one right now in Glen Olden. The house needs a decent amount of work. I knew the family. The lady's 81. She's still working full time. She's been a widow for years. The stuff we do because we know the human side of the story with people. If you go on humansoverhouses.com, NextHome tells these stories on a separate website all the time. Go ahead, Hub.
Well, it makes you feel good to help other people.
I do. Yeah. That's my mom's fault.
That's, but I don't think that, I think it's also long-term thinking.
Yes,
I agree. The
with
whole year, not just the month. You're thinking about the whole year and a half, or how long and you're thinking about, and it makes you able to sell yourself better to the next customer when you have success with the customer that you're currently having.
And another point to that, when you present the listings properly, and you use my cousin Jody to do the photography, and you make sure the description's good, and it's not half-assed, and people look at that and they say, let me look at his listing. Let me see what he got for the house. And then someone backs it up with saying, hey, this is a quality person who knows the business, trained by Dave Stinson, knows how to get the job done. It's a blessing. It's a little luck, but I don't buy leads. Like I just talked to a lady today. She was buying this house for herself. She's a realtor. She said the last deal she did, Zillow took 40% of the lead and the company took 20%, so she only got 40% of the deal. So how much money was she making? So like if I do, like this is a business too, right? So if I do 15, 18, 19, 20 deals, 95% of that money goes in my pocket because I own the company. I don't have anybody. Like if I work for somebody, I have to give that. If I buy leads from Zillow, as hard as I work, I'm going to give Zillow 40% of my number? There's no way in hell. I'm wheeling Brooks down the street. One time I was hanging upside down like a bat shot back in water. Out of a 12-inch by 12-inch hole in Glen Olden. I had to call my buddy that was a cop in Falkirk to come get me out of the hole because I got stuck in the hole. I couldn't get out. Like my wife, 9 months pregnant, was shot back in water out of a guy's basement. I'm not going to give up my money. When they hire me, they get me. They don't get a minion, right? We talk about this all the time. Yeah. It's me. I do everything start to finish. I'm not the intake guy, and then you get passed off to a minion. I just explained yesterday real quick, not to go on and on, but I had somebody that was trying to do a creative purchase and buy something before they sold their home. and they were using creative financing. And let's see who's texting me here. Somebody's texting me who I just told on the phone not that long ago that I was getting on a podcast. See how people listen? And don't listen at all. But I gave them. People are dumb. They do this all day with this. When I tell you that I'm 24/7, I'm getting on the phone. I do transportation services, real estate, and then idiots text me with dumb bullshit when I'm on the podcast. But I sat down with this person. I said, the lender's not giving you the full story here. And once I gave them the full story, they said, maybe we better wait and sell the home before we buy because it could put us in a rough spot. Again, it was their decision, but I just wanted to make sure I gave them all the information so they made the best decision, and they didn't get a little bit of information from a bullshitter that was just trying to knock down a transaction. That's the difference. And after 21 years, it's proven. I could do better. I could beat people over the head. I could roughshod transactions. I could buy leads. But the way we do it is the way we want to do it, the right way.
And right there, you just said the key word, the right way, key term, I should say. But, again, this is like going to turn into an Italian podcast tonight. But, Dan, seriously, and I say this statement in a lot of situations, talking with people, and I kind of shake my head in the way business is done today in whatever the business is done, whatever business, and the way civilization of life is. And I say to people, if my mother heard me do business or heard me do what you want me to do or act or whatever it's going to be, my mother would smack me upside the head.
Yeah.
And this is where, me and Dan are like, those
what do you say? Why would she do that?
Here's why. Because when you're brought up the right way, and you're old school too, so I'm sure your parents brought
like
you
a
up
Southern
the right
hospitality
way.
for him, right?
Exactly. So I experience this with especially the younger generation of today. And Dan has brought up multiple times his mother. And I know for a fact, working with Dan in this situation, whether it's the podcast or social media, his mother is super supportive. And if his mother sees something and she's not supportive or appreciates or likes what's going on, she'll say, yo, Dan, what the fuck? That's what you would say in Italian.
He messes me up all the time.
Exactly. So when Dan is doing business, he is not going to want to have his mother say, yo, Dan.
And I'll say this, Bay. Her family was all entrepreneurs, business owners, from bars, restaurants, contractors, hairstylists. They all had to, so they have a frame of reference, right? They didn't work for anybody. They worked for themselves, from food service, contracting, all the way through. Every single one of the Faciolas are business owners. We had a party. It's the same thing. It's the mentality.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not only that, it's a beautiful thing. It's a positive thing. It's an inspirational thing. And it's the way truly business is supposed to be conducted.
Today's bad, though. I mean,
bad.
Even with families. I had a house recently where is a senior citizen selling, and the window was broken in the house.
Okay.
For a while, and they had a bag over it. And I was thinking, if my mom was in there, I would have had that window fixed in about 10 seconds. I wouldn't let my mom wait a day. Yes. I would have made sure someone was over there fixing that window or securing it properly and getting that window replaced as soon as possible.
Correct.
Just small things that I noticed that I keep my mouth shut about, then I air them out on the podcast. But it's like, I just wouldn't. It's the same with the sales aspect. I wouldn't do something for somebody or not do something that I wouldn't do for my own immediate family. And that's what real estate used to be. That's what we promoted at Century 21 Absolute Realty. That was the mentality of, we were at a graduation Saturday. My cousin Linda Johnson was there. She's probably in the business 40 plus years. we talked about what the mentality was of Century 21 Absolute and what the culture was from the top down of doing business the right way. And we had a bunch of misfit toys worked over there, people from all kinds of backgrounds and all, but everybody had the same focus of personalized service and making sure that they were doing everything possible to put their client in the best possible position.
Well, I wanted to say something that's a little different on the subject, but as it occurred to me when we talked last time, we were talking about different YouTube real estate podcasts and their predictions, and they like to make predictions because they sort of want to scare and impress people with their knowledge of what's going to happen in the future. And
Because they want to get clicks.
Everybody's trying to impress everybody else. It's just part of the human condition. Sure. And it's just funny because a lot of them want to present themselves as high-end sellers, and they don't want to present themselves as doing all the extra things like you're talking about that you do, feeding a turtle lettuce and all this kind of stuff, going to the store buying lettuce for the turtle, all kind of stuff.
That was Marty.
For people. What?
That's the guy I moved the bricks for. Not only did I forgot about the turtle, believe it or not, Hub. I bought 3 things of lettuce, cost me $18. I didn't get reimbursed for, and I fed the turtle for 6 days while he was in West Virginia. I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that, Hub, because that salt in the wound even more, because I did about 9 million things over there getting out of there.
Well, at least you got some. There's a joke about that because at least you got some education, because turtles have torn us a lot.
There you go. I even paid. Wait to hear this. They on that settlement. We got the settlement. We finally got it done. I got back to the office. I'm putting the check in the bank. My title company calls me and said the township called, tried to stop the settlement because they want to add money to the trash bill because they said he left too much trash on the curb. And guess what I did? I had already called the private trash guy to come pick up the trash, and I paid $100 to get rid of the trash. On top of everything else. You know why I paid it? Because I didn't want the trash sitting on the curb, because I knew the crappy trash company wasn't going to pick it up, and I didn't want to disrespect my neighbors that live a block and a half down the street, so I paid to get the trash out of there. That's how many little, not only I fed the turtle, I got the trash out, I took the bricks out of the house, I helped to move the stuff out of the house on moving day, I took loaded trash.
Here's something now. Hey, we can't.
What's he doing now, Ben?
I don't know.
Are we arisen yet?
I don't know, Hub.
Where'd you go, Hub? Hey, Bay, we were just talking about when he told the guy not to trespass. We were trying to find it to show Danny because he was away at school.
How great was that moment?
My wife said the look on Bay's face. Like, where? Look, this is why Hub's on this program. He disappeared.
I can't hear anything.
Why don't you log back in, Hub? But we'll just go on until Hub figures this out.
I'll tell you what, I should take that video and clip that moment.
Danny wants to clip it. Danny said he wants to go back.
Please do.
Danny said he wants to go back.
He's got the expertise to do it.
He says he wants to go back to all the episodes when your car was on fire, Hub with the guy on the street. He says, and he cusses. He says, you dopes. If I clipped all those episodes and that shit show that you had there, for how many did we do in this thing? How many? 50?
Where were we at? 44. Yeah.
Danny said he's going to go back and pull. We got to do that and make like a montage. Here it comes, and clip all the crazy shit before he even came on, when he was just a listener.
I'll be there next month.
Are you coming up?
Me and Coco will be there next month. A little quiet plug. July 12th at the Ambler Theater.
Yes, they're doing the premiere.
The TWA documentary premiere.
Hey, listen, who's getting the ticket? Who's got the tickets for that?
Free. It's free to the public.
You know why? I'm going to tell you this. We're off topic, but oh well.
I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
So listen, Danny's friends at school are huge wrestling fans. They're all 19-year-old boys in college, right?
Okay.
They're very big wrestling fans. The one guy for his final for the TV station, did a documentary on the history of wrestling in Philadelphia.
Really?
And the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance was a part of it. And they talk about it.
Can you please send that to me?
You know what? Yeah, I got it. Yeah. It's awesome. It's about, I don't know how many minutes, 6, 7, 8 minutes, whatever the guy did, but he did a whole clip of a history of wrestling in Philadelphia. And the TWA's on it. So here he goes. Hub's got Hub and Hub now.
I wasn't hearing you guys at all, man.
Yeah, you're good.
You're back.
You're good.
Oops,
so we got a sidetrack
now.
here while you were out. But so these guys love, and they know Mike Keener, and I laugh because Danny don't piece it together. I go, Dan, I was at every single TWA show. I don't think I missed one. I know every single guy. I know the revolution of the company, everything that went on there, and his kids, like we're going down to Atlantic City on the 29th. They're doing first time in 4 years at the Atlantic City Convention Center, the old building, the original Atlantic City place. WWE Raw and SmackDown's there as a joint show. Yes, on the
joint show.
Yes, it's going to be where Raw. Ever see when they used to do them Raw and SmackDown on the same show? It's going to be like a mega show.
Okay.
It starts at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be like a 4-hour show. So I grabbed tickets down there. I don't know where he went. He disappeared. So, but the history of all that, it's funny because Danny's guys are all getting involved in it. And you talk about doing things the right way, even though Todd was all those guys that were involved there were characters. It's a great. I'm going to that. Make sure we touch base.
Please go. Seriously, please go.
I'm going to take Danny. While I'm around, I have nothing going on. We're not far from Ambler, 45 minutes. We're going to go over there.
Okay.
And because I was at every single one of those shows. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going. Coco's coming with me.
Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, of course. We heard you.
I can finally hear you now.
So we took a detour while you took a detour coming back to us. This show's a shit show this month. We took a detour.
No, that was part of the show, Dan. We did that on purpose. It was more entertaining that way.
We took a detour. Don't forget to buy your houses from Dan. That's what this show is all about. We took a wrestling detour on Tri-State Wrestling Alliance. But honestly, Bay, to be there from that to ECW, I went to every one of those shows. And it's an amazing history if you were around for all that. It really is.
It really is. It's going to be a fun time. July 12th. The only part that sucks about it is the theater opens at 9 a.m. Sunday morning, July 12th. The documentary starts at 9:30 a.m. and there is a Q&A afterwards.
Okay.
And supposedly after that, next door there's an Italian restaurant. Supposedly, we're all going to head over there afterwards.
They're doing an event.
Yeah.
Real quick, on a side note, we'll get back to a couple of real estate topics. Get out of here. How are you flying up? And my second business, folks, is travel. Love travel. Who are you flying with? Did you get tickets yet?
Yeah. All right. So here's the fucked up thing. And this is, let's roll. We're going Italian style. So I was there in March. Okay. My round trip ticket in March. My favorite. Was $150 round trip, $150. Yep. This time I'm coming, and I booked my plane tickets almost 3 months in advance, maybe even more, for me and Coco this time. $990 for 2 tickets round trip.
Yeah, you should. I was going to tell you the look. I don't know if they fly out of there, but I thought they did. Look at Avello out of Delaware.
You know what? I've heard of the whole Avello thing.
I had a great experience with them.
I forgot to look about the Delaware situation because I always just do Philly.
Right out of Wilmington, and they fly southeast, and I think they fly into Tennessee. Now I don't know where though. I don't know the whole.
I got to look for future, but also too, I also have to look at the rent-a-car situation because I do like a Turo rent-a-car.
Yes.
So I got.
What is this event? What is this event you're going to, Bay?
It's a wrestling documentary about the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, and it involves I'm involved, and there was a lot of interview stuff with myself and situations, and and
it's a big.
You
So
see
are
me
you
in the
doing any-
trailer, and I'm crying for a second. That's all I do is cry anymore, but that's a whole nother story.
Well,
All right, Hub. Hammer us with another real estate topic here, and we'll get on out of here. Hub's got his notes, so go through those notes, Hub, and let's get it.
what I was
going
wondering
out
what
of
you the thing is you were talking about how there was some red tape that they're giving you, and do you find that, like, if you're in the big city, like say you're in Philadelphia or one of the other big major cities, do you find that the smaller suburbs are actually more picky on red tape and that
I
kind
will
of
say
thing?
Good
this.
question.
Very good question. And county to county, it's different. My wife and I
Yeah.
were just having this discussion.
But it also
Some of this-
depends on different things too. Like some they're more picky on electrical things and that kind of
Correct.
thing.
And if they have a use and occupancy in that township, some townships have use and occupancies, which the township comes in and does an inspection, some do not. But as an agent, for example, in Lancaster County, they do things totally different. They don't pay commissions on rentals. They try to do double-sided deals and take deals from buyers' agents. They run a whole different ship, and there's a whole different geographical rules when you're in Lancaster than when you're in Delaware County. Not everybody can sell Delaware County because a lot of agents have a different aggressive nature because that's just the way people are in Delaware County. So every Philadelphia County, there's a different wage tax, tax on the sale of the house there that people don't know. In the suburbs, it's 1% each side. In the city, it's 2.3. I think it's 4.6 or 4.7 total. So things are totally different depending on what county. And our counties go from urban to rural quickly. So you can go within 50, 60 miles. You can go from urban to very rural, from North Philly to Lancaster, where I sell. So that is a good question. We lost Hub again. Bay, this one's been a doozy. This is a top tenor tonight.
Top three.
Yeah, I know. The car fire is a good one. That was great. that was one of my favorites. The car fire.
That moment was really.
And then Hub's like, let's stay on. And Coco's like, hey, your car is on fire. That's one of, in my house, that might be number one. Julie loves the Hubism when he's out there.
That would be like, we're doing a real estate podcast and saying, hey, your house is on fire. Do you want to buy a house? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's, well, I tell you what, this just reminds me honestly of what we do every day. If you can't, I was a project manager by trade. I can pivot quickly. You have to pivot quickly and resolve stuff quickly in this business. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can't do that. And I always talk about Dave Stinson, but he taught us so many granular little things.
2 questions.
The guy helped us a ton.
All right. Question number one, and I've been meaning to ask, and I think I asked you this a while. Is there any way we could bring Dave Stinson on?
I'm trying to get him. I got to get him on. I told him, see the documentary? I want to do a sit-down interview with him.
I think that would, because
he's a photogenic memory.
We're on episode 44. Every freaking episode you have mentioned, referenced, and expressed how important he was to your real estate career. And to me, this guy is like on the Mount Rushmore of real estate.
And you could call him, you could call him 24/7. And he would pick up and say, he would call me Big Boy. What do you need, Big Boy? And I would say, hey, we have this. I told you this. Like, we had one on Falkcroft on Grant Road, and they put decks up on the back of these row homes. They cut holes in the wall from the kitchen and put decks on where the electric lines ran up the top. Remember, across those row homes?
Sure.
So they didn't expect you to put a deck on when they put the electric lines up there with the reels. So what happened was, when we had FHA came in and said, you have to move the electric. It's a touching hazard. So I go, move the electric. Like, huh? That ain't happening. So I go to Dave. I go to Dave and I go, Dave, the guy from the inspection said that we had to call Pico. No, Big Boy. He goes, you get a piece of that plastic protector stuff. It clips together, and then it's not a touch and a half. Tell the guy, no one's moving, and he's cussing. No one's moving, because that line covered the whole row of houses. No one's moving 14 houses of row home electric wire. He goes, the way you get around that is, and this was like everything in one with him, like, cover it up. That's your solution. There's always a solution to the problem.
Sure.
And people used to say stupid shit, and he used to say, wait a minute, think about it for a second. Like, does that make sense? Like, think about it.
And everything you just said right there is everything that Hub is about. And this is where I love Hub, because Hub, you know what? Hub has taught me so much, and Hub has been a person who has really talked me off a cliff many times where I'm ready to, because he thinks.
Yeah.
And he like slows you down, and he stops you and he says, hey, wait, no matter how crazy and insane anything and everything is going on right now, and this is not only in your own life, world, real estate, or etc., there is a solution. And most people, 99% of the people in that panic mode can't think of that.
They're too sped up.
Nobody
can.
Nobody can.
Exactly. And I am 1,000,000% guilty of that. The person in life who taught me and slowed me down to like really try to focus and think on that is Hub. And
well, I'm the same way.
I'll give him all the credit.
I've never heard you say that, babe, but I appreciate it.
No, it's seriously, you taught me so much in life.
You have to slow down, and like Dave, we used to, and because Dave had so much experience, and he had such a good memory, we would bring him. And this is when my agents don't utilize me enough, because everyone thinks they know when they don't know. But like, I would bring Dave hey, Dave, this happened. What can I do here? And he would say, Mary and John Simmons, 1242 Main Street, Upper Darby, 1987, same problem. This dude off the top of his head. And then he would say, this is what happened there. This was the solution. This is what you need to do here. And we were able to, I never even had to question it. You know how much valuable that is to say, boom, here's your, I didn't even have to, like, I saved so much time because his memory was so good. I say, I need an, and I knew he was right, because he always packaged stuff up and made sure that the knowledge base was there, and he knew how to educate people. It's probably similar to what you did when you were teaching people how to play instruments and slow them down and get them to where they need to be, where we're going to start slow, we're going to learn, and we're going to make building blocks. And then you have a really good foundation for success, like I do, because I do the same thing. But my agents will question me and do something different sometimes. And I'll say, look, I'm not trying to be a wise guy. This is Dave and me. Now you got 85-year-old Dave, and all my 21 years, I'm trying to help you because I retained everything he taught me. And now you guys should use me as a resource, because then you don't, and then make sure you retain it so you can use it as a resource.
And you know, the best home remodels, if you're working with a home remodeler, the best ones will do that. You might come up with a weird idea, and the remodeler will say, no, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way, because this is going to be nice. We want it to be nice.
Well, here's the thing to that point.
That's actually called being, what?
Laying things out the right way so it makes sense before you start a project when you're in that business.
Right. Yeah, and the home remodeler will say, no, we're going to do it this way because we want it to be nice. And he knows that he already knew that I trusted. He knew he could do that with me. And so you have to be a good student, and then the teacher has to be basically a good parent, saying, no, you're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way.
Well, and to tie this up for this week was, we bring it back to the trust factor that the client has in you when they're using you, right? Because you had the building blocks. You were a good student. You try to bring those lessons to the positive side to your client. And if your client has trust in you, I mean, we talked about the parents coming in. You know, I just had an instance where I had 3 daughters helping a mother sell, and now they're saying to me a couple weeks in, we're going to follow your direction. We believe in what you're telling us. It took a minute. You know, it took a minute to evolve.
Yeah, but that's the best kind, the ones that actually come back to you after they've
Yes.
learned their lesson. Now
It's
they
true.
trust you. They wouldn't. They humbled themselves enough to admit, okay, you know, I was being a little stupid, and that's the very best kind when they come back.
Well, and I'll tell you this: why do you hire a realtor? For their professional experience and the fact that they're going to try to keep you out of a legal situation and put you in the best possible position to get a house, and especially in a challenging market where we can get creative to get people in because of our experience, whether it's escalation clause, you know, creative financing, and we have good people we can refer you to. Experience. I don't. You know, when you're a rookie, everybody's a rookie at some point. It's tough. I mean, experience really matters. You see it in wrestling and in the business that you're in, Hub, and it takes time. You have to slow down. Like Bay, I'm like you. It took me a long time to learn. Slow down.
Yeah.
Understand it. Come up with a viable solution and implement that. You know, and that's why I hope people, when they listen to the podcast, they'll come back to us. We're a cast of characters on here, but we're going to give you honest, professional service. As Bay said, we treat you like your own mother. Humans Over Houses is real at NextHome. One more thing, too. HumansOverHouses.com tells all these stories of people and dealing with NextHome agents and how the humanistic side came out on the transactions. It's a wonderful website for people to check out.
Let me ask 2 questions, Dan. Number one, from my own experience, and this is where I get a lot of my questions to bring to you. Over my time in life, being in my mid-50s, you know, people naturally are like, oh, let me figure a cheaper way to do it.
Yep.
And they want to avoid a reorder and cut that expense out. How many, or you can't say how many, but how much have you experienced people trying to cut that expense out, getting so frustrated and inundated with like, oh my God, overwhelmed with this whole experience and everything, because the real estate world and laws and legalities are constantly changing. So how much have people come to you and said, like, I need a Dan Pizzi in my life to help ease my pain and bring the reality to this?
Who wants to pay? They don't want to pay. And realtors
That's the bottom line.
Imran Pilati, who left NextHome and has his own, he's in the card business now. He has his own trading card, sign company, all kinds of stuff out in Sacramento. He always said, we don't articulate enough what we do for our clients. So they don't think we do a third of what we do because we're just doing it behind the scene. And we talked about this. Weichert had a huge brochure and it had every step of what we do in a transaction. If you don't articulate your worth, which I'm not very good at because I just do things to try to take the pressure off my clients. But then people will come to you and ask for a discount. And then I'll get mad because they say I do all these things, but I don't do a good enough job articulating everything I do, like wheel and bricks.
I was just going to say, well, if you put together a brochure, you're not going to put wheeling bricks in the freaking brochure.
Right.
That's the thing.
I try to tell people, other people won't do that. Like even Marty, even on Marty's, in full transparency, they beat him up so bad financially. I paid for his resale packet for his homeowners. Who does that dumb stuff? But I felt so bad for him. I'm not going to do it, folks, for you every time. Trust me. But I felt so bad that they beat the guy down so bad trying to get out. He paid $10,000 for a mover to move his stuff from here to West Virginia. Crazy money. And this were quotes you get. Your mom will say, should you tell people that? It's easy. Go get a quote. That's the cost to move people. But we do things. We do what we need to do to get people out. And we do earn every penny because we do crazy stuff to ensure that everybody gets to where they want to be. But like Hub said, it's constantly cost cutting with people anymore.
Yeah, but I think that if you, and this is what I should have done, and this is the one thing I regret. is I should have had every amplifier, every guitar I ever sold in a music store. I should have had a photo album of every single guitar, because if anybody in that store accused me of my students not buying enough stuff, I could show them, look at all this stuff that I sold, because they would forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right.
If you could document, if you could have a diary of the things that you do on each sale that you do.
Wish I had that.
I should have had a freaking photo album of everything I ever sold. I should have, but it's hindsight.
That's why.
Okay.
Okay. So Hub, that's why people that follow me on social media with my job, what I do, I open 1,000 packs of cards a night, but those big boom moments, I take a picture of every moment, and that next day I put it on social media. Here is what I did last night. Like the other day, I pulled a Clint Eastwood autograph card. I pulled an Al Pacino autograph card. I pulled a Fernando Mendoza autograph card. I pulled all these crazy rare situations. Not everybody can do that. A person like Dan Pizzi can do that in real estate. Hub Rigel can do that in the world of music and knowledge and teaching.
And look at the difference in personalities. It's just your want and will to be the best in what you do and try to represent your people, train your people. What was your second question? We'll get out of here. Do you remember your second question?
Me or Bay?
Bay said he had two questions. You said you had two questions.
What? Okay. The second question was.
You remembered it, Hub?
No, this time I remembered it. What is the situation with NextHome? Is there a new ownership? What is?
Yeah, so the industry is shrinking. It's becoming large corporations taking over. The mom and pop small brokerages cannot compete in the current business side of this market conditions. So NextHome, I think, really did what they needed to do for the financial side and for the consumer. We merged with EXP. So EXP is an online web-based company with really no brick and mortars. They have some media centers, but really very few brick and mortar locations. Okay. So NextHome is going to be the brick and mortar franchise division offering, which is a value add to EXP. Now, what does EXP bring to the table? A shit ton of money, very successful ownership, and they are bringing their technology in the business and their brand awareness, their sheer size, and the two companies merge. Couple things. Compass ended up buying Berkshire, who had bought Long and Foster, and they just bought the Century 21 branch, which is Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Better Homes and Gardens, REI. Okay. That's all under Compass. Now, if that's not a monopoly, but this is where I get kicked in the ass, and we're going to get out of here. Spirit Airlines had to go out of business because they wouldn't allow a merger with JetBlue because the Biden administration said that would be a monopoly. But it's okay for Compass to buy up all these major real estate companies under one umbrella, and they allow that to go through. So everybody was scrambling. Keller Williams is looking for a landing spot. Weichert's looking for a landing spot. And to that point, we just had Remax merge with Real, who's a huge, well-funded internet-based real estate company with great technology. So if you mix the experience of a Remax agent with this great infusion of technology, I think that relationship is very good. I think the relationship with NextHome's merger with EXP, I don't like it because I like the mom and pop. We would have never competed. You cannot compete as an independent. I got a buddy I give a shout out to that owns Opus Elite. He's doing about as good as anybody as a regional real estate company. And they're old school Italians. They're doing so good there because they're really rooted in the communities. But the bigger companies to compete, you had to merge. We have a meeting with this coming up Friday. I think we have a webinar. I'll have more information on that next month on the NextHome EXP EXP acquired us. I say merger, but really was an acquisition. Our brand is staying and our culture staying as of now. There's no crossing this over. It's still going to be run as separate real estate companies.
And that's really, really good when companies can do that, because they can help each other. One hand can wash the other hand.
Exactly.
And it's way better positioning, Hub. Like if you brought in a good lead singer or something in a band, it's so much better for the consumer in the long run, because it brings more technology, more leadership, more money under one roof, so we can compete in the marketplace. All right, let's wrap this up this month. I got to get something out to a club. We're doing excellent, by the way. This was probably the second or third best year I've had. It's really feet on the street. And we've been helping a lot of buyers too, and it's difficult to get buyers in right now. There's a lot of challenges. The experience matters. My team's there. Myself, Lisa, Matt, Mason. I have Evelyn. We shrunk back a little bit with the renewal. A couple of the old timers jumped out of the business. But NextHomeBrandywine.com. Call us. Look at our website. It's very robust. We'll be back here next month with more. Hub, thank you, buddy. Always appreciate your content and you jumping in on this thing. Bay, get us out of here.
Hey, everybody. Nothing for nothing. This is the real deal. Dan Pizzi, Hub Rogel, everybody with NextHome Brandywine. It's family. It's Italian. It's love. It's honest. I don't need to say anything else.
We keep it straight.
NextHomeBrandywine.com. Go there right now. We will help you. We will make it happen for you. And we will see you next month.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You doing okay, Bay?